grade 1s and 2s, we are going to start something exciting this term. We're going to be learning all about our country, South Africa. Now, before we start, we're going to sing the national anthem. We're going to do this in class, but I just want to tell you about it. And we are going to learn what each line means. Nkosi sikeleli i-Afrika. Now, just for today, I'll teach you the first line. Nkosi sikeleli i-Afrika, that's the beginning of our song. That means God bless Africa. Isn't that amazing that our country's national anthem starts with the word God? I think that is just awesome. So we are going to learn what the whole song means, but for now, you can just remember that our national anthem, Nkosi, actually means God. The national anthem starts with acknowledging that we need God to bless Africa. Never before have we realized how much our country needs God, and lots of people, maybe more so than ever before, have been on their knees asking God to bless Africa, to save us from this virus that is outside. And I think God is using it to teach us that He is in control, to remember to trust Him even when times are bleak. So as we learn the national anthem, it's our joy and privilege to start it off with singing, God bless Africa. Nkosi sikeleli i-Afrika. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but on our fridge and cupboard doors in our kitchen, we've got some artwork from our children. So this is Sarah's Valentine's Day art that we hang up in the kitchen. And this is some art that Graham did. I love it. He did some paper tear and some ball on a beach ball, and there's a beach background. And the reason we hang it up is because we're proud of it. It's on display. So in the world, there's a system like that to display some things that God made. Now, of course, God made beautiful things. The whole world is really on display, isn't it? But there's something called the natural wonders of the world. So every now and then people get together and they say, we are going to choose 7 of God's beautiful creation to kind of hang up on display, to say, wow, everyone, have you noticed this? And we are privileged in our country, and not just our country, but actually in our province, in the province of the Western Cape, and actually in Cape Town where we live. So this is very cool. We have one of those things that they've chosen to have on display. We have one of the 7 natural wonders of the world right here in Cape Town. Can you guess what it is? Maybe look outside your window. Think about it. What do you see out there that's big and amazing that God created and that the rest of the world thinks is pretty cool? Table Mountain, that's right. So Table Mountain is in our province, which is the Western Cape. Later on in the term, we're going to learn about the provinces. Here's a map, and we're going to learn the capitals of each province. And over here, down here, you can see the Western Cape. That's where we live, and that's where Table Mountain is. We also have 2 different oceans. That's quite unique about our country and our province, actually, is we've got the Atlantic Ocean on one side of our country, and we've got the Indian Ocean on the other. And of course, at some point, they're going to come together and meet, isn't it? And that's quite cool. And actually, if you look at Sarah's Valentine's Day art, it's got a family picture of us, and we are standing where the 2 oceans meet. Isn't that special? There's a monument there, and it says Atlantic Ocean one side, Indian Ocean the other. It's in Struisbaai, which is where we went on holiday in December. So you can see where our 2 oceans meet. We stood and took a family picture. Can you remember I just told you the names of the 2 oceans? Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean. Okay, you've got to remember that for later. We're going to fill it in on a worksheet. Also on our country, on the map of the world, you will see that our country is at the bottom of the continent. But there are many countries above us, part of the African continent. Now, I would show you on the world map behind me, but I think I'll save it for when we get back. But if you look at the countries that are on top of South Africa, that are bordering, we say it's bordering our country, and that is Namibia, Mozambique, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. Those are the names of our countries that we share a border with. So we've got South Africa down here, and we've got Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Those are all the countries above our country we share a border with. We're neighbors. And we've also got Swaziland and Lesotho. Now, Lesotho is really interesting because it's a country inside our country. We've got the whole of South Africa. Then in the middle of our country, we have another country called Lesotho. Is that interesting? I'm going to show you on the world map when we get back to school. If you have a world map at home, and go have a look at it. It's really interesting. Now, I wonder if you can tell me, of our lovely country, who is the president at the moment? You've probably seen him on TV. He's been doing a lot of talking at the moment, making important announcements, telling us how we're going to manage this coronavirus lockdown. What's his name? His name is President Cyril Ramaphosa. And God has raised him up just at this time to lead our country. And I'm glad that he has. He's a great leader, and the Bible tells us that we are to submit to those in authority over us, which means we need to listen. We listen to our mums and dads for sure, and we also need to listen to the president. As long as the president is telling us things that are in line with God's word, we listen to him. But the biggest authority in our lives is God, and we listen to him first and foremost. But all the decisions that Cyril Ramaphosa has made, there's nothing in the Bible that says we shouldn't submit to them. So at the moment, we are listening to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Can you tell me, he's quite a famous president of South Africa. There was a time when our country changed to have democratic elections, which just means that everyone in the country was allowed to vote. It's quite special. So before the democratic election, only a few people were allowed to vote, and that was bad. And then there was a change in our government, and anyone in South Africa could vote. They could decide who was going to be the next president. So the whole country went to vote. They voted for a new president, and his name was Nelson Mandela. Do you remember Nelson Mandela? Have you heard anything about him? Okay, well, he was a very well-known, very famous president, and one of the things that he is famous for is telling South Africa to forgive, to look around us, to show grace, and to forgive, which is a beautiful message because it's exactly the message in the Bible, that Jesus has forgiven us much, and that's what Nelson Mandela told us to do, to forgive our neighbors. So there you go. We've got a very quick overview of our beautiful country. We've talked about our presidents. We've talked about countries around us. We've talked about our provinces and which province we live in. And we've also talked about what famous things we have in our country. One of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And we've got that right here. We have a very special country, and I'm really grateful to God that he's put me here. I'm proudly South African. Okay, we are going to get out our worksheets. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but in your workbook 1, I slipped in this worksheet before we went on lockdown. So if you go and open workbook 1, you will find this worksheet there, and we are going to fill it in. Okay, it's the introduction to our new module all about South Africa, and you will find the answers that you need, we've just spoken about, and I'm going to show you how to write them, and then I want you to color it in. Okay, let's fill this in. Did you know Table Mountain is one of the 7 new wonders of nature? In which province will you find Table Mountain? The province that we live in, the Western finger space Cape. You can use your pencils. South Africa is surrounded by 2 oceans. Can you guess which ones they are? Unscramble the words to find out. Here's a scrambled up word. Starts with an A. Which of the oceans started with an A? Atlantic. Atlantic Ocean. And then over here, it starts with an E, an I. The Indian Ocean. That's cool, hey? They both meet at the bottom of our country. The countries bordering South Africa are Namibia, Mozambique, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, and Lesotho. Very cool. Who is the current president of South Africa? President Cyril Ramaphosa, who God has put in charge of our country for just a time like this. Ramaphosa. There we go. Who was the first president elected in a completely democratic election? That word democratic means everyone may vote. tick the box with the correct name. Jacob Zuma, nope. Nelson Mandela, yep. Thabo Mbeki, nope. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to color in our picture. Okay, you've got to color in beautifully.